The American quarter horse, as we know it today, stems from a breeding process which began hundreds of years ago. When the conquistadors departed the New World, their horses were left in the settlements of Georgia and Florida. These horses were subsequently crossbred with the Hobies and the Galloway horses of the English Cavaliers in Carolina and Virginia to form the early quarter horse breed. These were mated with the thoroughbred speed sires imported from England, creating the quarter horse of today. The name quarter horse stems from quarter of a mile, for he's the fastest horse in the world at this distance. Despite the desirable impact of early thoroughbred infusion into the quarter horse strain, it is a matter of record that quarter horse racing was popular in the colonies 200 years before the American thoroughbred even became a breed. When the West was won, it was the quarter horse that helped win it. You can bet that the wagon boss rode the best horse he could find, and that was always a quarter horse, for his horse was not only a dependable mode of transportation, but also a companion and friend. America grew with the quarter horse, as did the quarter horse grow with America. Through the early settler days, on through the winning of the West, to today where the quarter horse participates in every type of horseman's recreation. Horse shows, rodeos, roundups, jumping events, trail riding, polo games, even barrel races, and of course, the super exciting sport of quarter horse racing. These events epitomize the image of a horse far beyond the confines of a pasture or a corral. The reining class magnifies the manners and the athletic ability of the horse, which moves with precision and grace. A great horse and rider make it possible for each other to change leads, and what seems difficult for some is made to look effortlessly possible. No horse in the world can go full out, put on the brakes, and slide with the balance and perfect headset of a quarter horse, nor back or spin like one. Put them all together, and you've got a well-rounded horse, a quarter horse. Looking for a cutting horse? Look again to the quarter horse. He must work off his hind quarters, ever attentive to the job at hand, staying with the cow through twisting and turning. The horse stays until the job is done. The American quarter horse, in every way, an animal with the desire to excel, no matter what it takes. It is this desire and versatility which have made the quarter horse the true American breed. Since the early 1940s, Americans have been enjoying more and more the excitement of quarter horse racing as organized by the American Quarter Horse Association. At tracks like Ruidoso Downs in New Mexico, Los Alamitos in Southern California, and Bay Meadows in the San Francisco Bay Area. Races are being run for the largest purses in horse racing. A good quarter horse race will last only 22 seconds as 10 horses break from the starting gate and travel in a mad scramble for 440 yards to a nose-to-nose finish at better than 50 miles an hour. This is the racing of quarter horses today, the animals that are crossbred with the fleet-footed thoroughbred to produce the greatest amount of speed over a relatively short distance in the least amount of time. If you just joined us, we're talking about quarter horse racing today with the leading trainer in the country, Wayne Lukas, and the leading jockey, Terry Lipham. And Wayne, people, I think, when you talk about horse racing, often think about the thoroughbred racing, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. But the fact is that here in California especially, you fellas with those quarter horses race for some unbelievable amounts of money.
Right. Our purse structure for our stake races is probably as large as anything in the United States today. And what we've done with the quarter horse race is we've taken the thrill and the excitement of the stretch drive, maybe of the thoroughbreds, and captured that last 2 furlongs into 440 yards of high excitement, running for a lot of money, which always adds to the excitement of both the bettor and the owners and trainers, and captured this one big moment of climax all into one 22-second race, and it seems to be catching on all over.
Do these horses have a different temperament than the thoroughbreds?
Right. They're a little bit more level-headed. We like to work with them. They're a little bit, they have a temperament a little bit better than the thoroughbred. They're not quite as high-strung. They're a little easier to handle, a little easier to manage, and a little bit more versatile, I think, too.
Terry, they may be easier to handle, but when you're sitting on 1,500 pounds of dynamite in that starting gate, I would imagine you're paying pretty close attention to that animal, aren't you?
Yes, you know, we have horses that are really good in the starting gate and horses that are really bad at fractious, and you have to really keep your eye on them because you can get hurt, injured pretty bad.
Terry, like Wayne, you had a decision to make a few years ago. You were riding both thoroughbreds and quarter horses, and it's kind of an interesting decision that you did make. You chose quarter horses as a specialty and have left thoroughbred racing behind you.
I left thoroughbred racing completely. I really love the quarter horses, and my weight, I can do a little heavier. I can weigh a little more riding the quarter horses. And, you know, quarter horse carries more weight, and I just like the quarter horses better.
On one weekend alone, not too long ago, this young man made himself about $12,000 just riding in a few races around the country, and that could be one of the reasons you left those thoroughbreds.
That's the main reason.
And because he just happens to be the best quarter horse jockey in the country. We're going to take a look at a couple of races now, and this goes back to the middle of May in 1975, the day of the Bay Meadows Futurity. Magnificent race for 2-year-olds, and this is the third race on that particular day, Terry, and you're right in the middle of that screen. Remember that horse's name?
Really Care.
Really Care. Did you really care that day? You must have, because you ended up right in front. We're going to get an interesting look at the gate. We're going to watch these horses coming right toward us, and one of the important things in quarter horse racing is to try and keep a horse straight. You had a little trouble in this race, didn't you?
Yes, this horse, the last time she ran, she hit the inside fence. I have never ridden her before, and I came, as you can see, when I came out of the gate, I had my whip in the left hand and whipped her left-handed trying to keep her straight.
Wayne, in training a quarter horse, getting out of the gate, that seems to be pretty instinctive with these animals.
Right after they've been out a couple of times, Bob, they really get the idea in a hurry. We do work a lot of times. Much of our training in the morning is devoted to the gate training and schooling. We have to get them away good, and then, like Terry said, they've got to run straight. As you know, the shortest distance is right down there in a straight line. So we spend a lot of time with the gate and a lot of time getting them broke so they will run straight. But the running comes instinctively. It's bred in them, and they're awfully quick.
We're going to take another look at that race in slow motion because I want you to take a look at Terry's horse, and you can tell us where that particular horse is, Terry. And if you'd been in an outside post position with that horse lugging that way, you could have been in some real trouble.
I could have been disqualified. I was really lucky to have an inside post position. I kept her straight till I got clear of the other horses. The only reason she didn't get disqualified. See, I have the 1 and 2 horse outrun, and you cannot, move any way, either way, unless you are clear of the other horses. Now, she did go over on the rail, but she is stopped.
Wayne, unlike thoroughbred racing, you don't have a whole lot of time for strategy in those quarter horse races, do you?
No, this is an all-out effort. It's similar to the 100-yard dash in a track meet, and they're going all out, and the rider has to make quick decisions, and Terry, of course, is the best I think we've ever run across in doing that. But it's an all-out dash, and there's not much time to rate your horse or make any quick decisions other than just try to get there first.
Not all races are perfect, however, and we're going to take a look at one where we told you earlier that the jockeys try their best to keep these animals on a straight line because obviously the shortest distance between 2 points is that straight line. On this particular race, the 5th race of the day, Terry, it didn't quite work out that way. They're all over the track. Let's take a look. These are headstrong animals, and these are not the class horses that we're going to see later in the Futurity, are they?
No, this is a claiming race, and we have a filly in here that usually really lugs in, goes to the inner rail, and the jockey is whipping her left-handed, and instead of going in, she's going out and gets disqualified for intimidating another horse.
Now, you jockeys, in that 22 seconds it takes to sprint that distance, you don't have a whole lot of time to chat with one another during that race, do you?
No, you have to make your decisions fast. You have to make up your mind what you're going to do and do it quick.
Wayne, if you have a horse that lugs like that, can you train a horse against that tendency?
Right. We try to correct all those things when they're young, and we try to get it straightened out before they turn, say, 3 or 4. But we can change equipment on them. We can put them through some schooling sessions that'll sometimes straighten them out. As Terry said, though, sometimes a horse will do this without any forewarning, and that's when you get in trouble in a race. He may shy from another horse or the whip of another man in the race, but we try to get it all worked out in the morning. And as a rule, the older, good horses, the class horses, run pretty straight.
I think we've given our viewers now a little feeling of quarter horse racing, a little something about this particular kind of an animal. So let's focus now on the Futurity. You had 3 horses in this race, Wayne, all racing for the same owner. But as a trainer now, you represent many owners, don't you?
Right. We have a number of people in our barn. We run a public stable, as it is, and we were fortunate on this particular day to have really a thrill of a lifetime in qualifying 3 for a race of this size. And they were all owned by one man, Bob Spreen of Downey, California. And he was fortunate enough to run one, too, as you'll see in the film. But we, at times, may have 1 or 2 in a race of this size, and both will be owned by different people. We try to get them all in, and, of course, sometimes it turns out this way.
Well, it turned out 1-2, and the other horse finished 6th. Not a bad day's work. Let's take a look now at the $157,000 Bay Meadows Futurity. This is a magnificent horse race. These are 2-year-olds, just youngsters, aren't they?
Yes, and our particular horses are 1, which you see on the monitor now, which is Oh Daddy O. And then here's Terry on Miss Reber, which is 1A. She's a filly,
I don't know about that outrider, but I'd probably be chatting with her prior to the race. Do you have anything to say to her, Terry?
She's awful pretty, and I just keep talking to her.
The number 2 horse here that you now see on the monitor is Rocky Karina. She was the horse that I felt personally was the horse to outrun and did wind up 4th in the race.
And of course, that is a horse that occupied the post position right next door to Terry, so he had to keep a close eye on that horse.
Right, there's a little trouble as you see just out of the gate. The race is a real clean race except for the 2 horses, Miss Reber and Rocky Karina, which are side by side in the 2 and 3 gate.
Terry, noticing these horses and looking at them closely, some really do have the thoroughbred look. Some have longer limbs and are more elongated than others, and others have that thicker chest quarter horse look.
I think we're, crossbreeding, breeding your thoroughbred, your better sprinting thoroughbred sires is really getting the more of a thoroughbred look.
And of course, everything a little bit tense right at this particular time, Wayne.
Right.
With 3 horses, people go into those betting windows and
at this
betting
moment,
those exactas and trying to find out who the winner of this race is going to be, and it's going to happen in a hurry, as you'll see here. We'll go right down to the track and take a look. We're going to get 2 looks at the race. And the horse on the outside is the one you want to watch, and it doesn't appear that from the angle of our camera here, Wayne, that your horse is getting up.
well, the outside horse from this angle looks like he gets up right at the end here. I think he was in good position, although I believe Terry on Miss Reber in the 2 gate was in the lead most of the way. But as you can see at the finish, Sold Short is the winner on the outside.
The 2 horses at extreme opposites on the track. And Terry, as you were coming down that rail on Miss Reber, could you look outside and see your stablemate?
I couldn't see him till probably 3/4 of the way of the race. Rocky Karina, the 3 horse, or the 2 horse on the program in the 3 gate, was right beside me, and she blocked my view till maybe the last 50 yards. And then I could see him, and I knew I was in trouble.
Robert Adair riding Sold Short out in the middle of that track, and no trouble. Talk about keeping a horse on a straight line. Those are the class horses, and you can see how they run.
Right, he runs a picture race, really. This is only the 3rd official start of his life, so we're real proud of the way he ran, as well as the other 2 in the race, and it was a big thrill, Bob, for everybody concerned.
Wayne told me, Terry, that Robert Adair got that horse because that one would race unmolested, and he was afraid of Miss Reber, and that you were the only guy in the country that could get her out of the gate properly.
Miss Reber is a real nervous filly, and I am the only one that has ever ridden her in a race, and I think that was the decision for me to ride Miss Reber as in Sold Short. He was my pick, in the first place.
The officials signal that the race is official, and I know you always like that sign, and there's James Caan, the movie idol. And in addition to being a great movie star, he's a pretty good cowboy himself, isn't he, Wayne?
Right. He's a big rodeo fan and ropes a lot, and, of course, a great quarter horse enthusiast and comes out to the races a lot, and a real good backer of our industry, really.
The Futurity, of course, those being young horses, Sold Short, Miss Reber, those are horses that we're going to see quite a bit now for the next couple of years, aren't we?
Right. I hope we see a lot of them, and on national TV, of course, on Labor Day, we hope that maybe they'll be there for the All-American, which is worth $1 million, and maybe Terry and I can have the fortune to be there with them.
I just can't conceive of $1 million horse race. When you saddle up that day, Terry, do you eat breakfast and do everything normally that day?
It doesn't really bother you. I think the trials, when you have to run the 10 fastest out of maybe 250 horses in the trials, I think that would bother you. Once you're in, you're in. There's nothing they can do. You're gonna make some money. But getting in is the thing.
And we might explain for our viewers, the quarter horse owners start paying entry fees in graduated amounts the minute these colts are born, when they're babies.
Right, they start nominating them, and as far as the excitement of $1 million, I'm not like Terry. When the few times I've been in the race, when they loaded them in the gate, I couldn't even swallow.
And of course, here in California, we're delighted to have quarter horse racing at both Bay Meadows and Los Alamitos, and Terry, I know for you particularly, that makes for an interesting schedule because you can spend most of the year in California, and lots of money here, and a lot of good horses, and even a lot of good trainers like Wayne.
That's right, and I love the weather in California. It's like I'm originally from Florida, and California is just almost perfect for me.
Wayne, is this a year-round occupation for you now, or do you still like to go back and coach basketball?
No, I don't think I would. I enjoyed basketball, and I really enjoy the sport and everything, but I think I'm so wrapped up in this now that I'll never get back to it. I love the horse
How about
racing.
a jockey's basketball team, Little League basketball? How would that...
If I had the time, it would be great. I've got a boy that's playing ball, and he's my interest now in the sport, but the horses wrap up pretty much all of my time, and we're running almost 300 days a year now, so I have to devote full time to the quarter horse racing.
I want to tell you what a trainer of quarter horse racers does, just an average day, and I don't think we'll let him tell us about it, Terry. I think you can tell us. Wayne gets up at about what time?
He gets up about 4 o'clock in the morning.
And he's got a few horses to worry about, not just one or two.
He's at the track by 4:30, and he stays at the racetrack all day. I mean, he very seldom gets a break. He gets about 4 hours sleep at night.
And the races, of course, at Los Alamitos, or in the case of Bay Meadows, are in the evening. So, Wayne, you're there all day. The races start about 8:30. You can't get away from the track before 12 or 1 o'clock.
No, we usually get away from there about 12:30. By the time I check out all the horses that ran that particular night and get done, it's about 1 o'clock. And I pick up the form, look it over until I'm a little bit drowsy. Usually the adrenaline's flowing pretty good.
You've got to be pretty drowsy.
Yeah. But anyhow, I lay down for a little while and we start all over. And we run 6 days a week, and between the phoning and managing the farm that's off the track and our off-track operation, it's a full 20 hours a day, but I love it. I don't mind it.
I like Terry's deal better. He goes out and gallops a couple of horses early in the morning and then plays a little golf, takes a nap, watches as the world turns in the afternoon, and gets ready for the evening performance. Let's take another look at that Futurity now. This is a great horse race with the class horses in quarter horse racing. Watch the horse on the rail. That's Miss Reber, ridden by Terry Lipham, who is our guest here today. And the outside horse, Sold Short, ridden by Robert Adair. Didn't look like Sold Short got out of that gate as quickly as you might have liked.
I think he's about a neck off in the early going, and Old Daddy-O and Miss Reber and Rocky Carina look like they've got it in hand right here. But now you see he's starting to move right about this point in the race. And I think right now is where he starts to overhaul him.
What happens is that the camera angle at this particular juncture starts to give us a more honest picture of the race, too.
Right, it sure does. Here he goes. Boy, what a thrill.
And but for the length of a nose, Terry, that could have been a victory for you, but you've had a few in your career, and I know there are going to be a lot more.
Well, Sold Short run a lot more, and I'll ride him now.
You and Robert Adair can flip coins for the next time that honor comes along. I'll tell you what, if you could trade that one for that $1 million race, I think you'd probably do it, wouldn't you?
I think I would.
And this fellow sitting next to you probably has a horse or two that's going to make it to that $1 million race.
I think maybe these same 3 horses we had in here have really a good chance.
They're off and running. Today's feature was brought to you through the courtesy of the Quarter Horse Racing Association and Bay Meadows Racetrack.